Well, hello there. Stream's a little later than it was supposed to be, but we're here now. We got to figure it out. Maybe some people who usually can't see my streams will get to see them. So, silver linings, I guess. Good times, good times. We're just going to sort of sit here, wait for people to show up. Here they come. How's everyone doing? How's it going? It's going to be a fun stream, I think. We're going to... Hey, Live PD is pretty great. I'll tell you a story about Live PD. When I was a brand new, fresh out of training MP, and I was like, I don't know how to do my job yet. I watched a lot of Cops, which is, predecessor to Live PD, basically. I think they're still running. I watched a lot of Cops, and I would, pause the episode and I'd do a bunch of research, like, what on earth is this law? All right, cool, I see what they're doing now. And I'd keep going. It's very useful. Sound up. Oh. Oh, excuse me. I got you guys. Is that better? How's my sound? Yeah, I was wondering where you were, Hardstee. How's my sound now? Is it better? Okay. Sorry for screaming at you guys through my microphone. Oh boy. All right. So this is a fun little stream idea that I had. I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun to make a video? I don't know. I feel like it's a better stream thing. I can answer your question directly. I'm not sick. I'm just waking up. I work those night shifts right now, so still a little waking up for that. But I digress. Live PD, is it more realistic than Cops? Seems like Cops turned a little scripted. I wouldn't know, honestly. If I could be involved in either of those shows, I would. I don't know. I think it'd be fun to be a cameraman. Just running around after the police. Like, you don't really have to do anything. You get all the action, but all you do is point a camera and try not to get shot. Sounds like a pretty good gig. I don't know about you guys, but I'd do that. Yeah, you do got to be fit. Those cameras, yeah, they're mobile. I don't envy. So Live PD, it's a little easier. Cameras are lighter, smaller, easier to carry. But you look at Cops, and those guys with their giant cameras. Just, how do they do it? Now, I'm used to running with gear. Law enforcement, you wear the vest and the belt and the boots, and you have to be able to move. I can't run for very long doing that, but I can move at a pretty quick pace. And then, of course, being an MP, you also have to be able to run with body armor with the full plate IOTV stuff. So it's work, but I feel like I could do it. I don't know how to do it. If I was like, I'm sick of my job, which I'm not. I like what I do. Not going to tell you what it is. And I was like, I need something where I just run around with the camera. Boom. No, I don't ruck anymore. I used to. I hate rucking. My ankles don't do so well anymore. It's good. It's a good time. I do do weighted. Like, I have a weight vest that I use instead of a ruck, but I don't ruck anymore. Rucking, for those of you who don't know, it's a rucksack, big backpack, 50 pounds. You walk for 10 miles. It's awful. Some people like it. I do not like it. I get bored. Anyway, you guys think we should move into this? Not too many viewers today. Y'all are slacking. It's all right. We're gonna have fun anyway. I have the virus. Good times. Yeah. My knees are getting better. My ankles still don't like it. I try to avoid it. All right, let's get into this. What does TV get wrong about police? Well, they get a lot wrong about police, and we're gonna use examples from classic TV shows. I reached out to my my Discord the other day, and I said, "Hey, give me some good old police TV shows." And I got a bunch of suggestions, and we can go through some of them. Not all of them, because there are a lot of police shows out there. And if you like it, I can do another video with more shows. How long is the stream not going to be? It's probably not going to be 3 hours. It's, it's a good time. So we're going to start. I have a list here. We're going to start with Bones. Now, Bones it's not like, if you're thinking cop shows, some people might not think of it as a cop show necessarily because it's more forensic investigators. But I can't even watch Bones anymore. It just frustrates me because of what they pretend to have as far as the equipment they use. It's very, very frustrating. And I wasn't able to get a good episode of it off of YouTube. I'm trying to get all of this off of YouTube just for the ease. I'm going to pop it up right there. Yeah. All right. Episode, little thing of Bones. This is about the visual effects of Bones. And the first thing I want to point out to all of you is this uniform. This uniform that he's wearing. I don't really know what's going on with it. Hold on. Let me see if I can... Oh, this isn't the one that actually has the uniform. There's this episode. I think this is David Boreanaz. Booth, that's what his name is in the show. He's wearing this uniform. He's like a sergeant first class or staff sergeant. He's got, Ranger tab, Special Forces tab, Airborne tab. He deployed with the 101st. He's got Special Forces patch on him. And it's just like, all right, let's calm it down a little bit because I'm pretty sure someone with all that stuff on their uniform would know how to fix their collar. His collar is all messed up. But they did the uniform okay. Better than some. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Things that they use in this show that really frustrate me is things like, if I could find it, where... Oh, yeah, okay, it's right here. They have these like, oh, look at our technology. I'm going to mute it because it doesn't really matter. But what on earth is this? What is that? What is that? That's not a thing. That's not a thing that they use to investigate things forensically. And so you're looking at Bones and you say, oh, well, forensics has all this neat equipment. It must be really easy to catch criminals. And that comes down to a thing called the CSI effect, where juries will actually fail to convict people because they say, well, you have all this cool equipment. Why weren't you able? Obviously, there should be some evidence. And then the forensic whoever's had to be like, no, that stuff doesn't exist. We don't actually have that. DNA, not as good as you think. Fingerprints don't show up everywhere. There's this classic example. If you ever look up the CSI effect, there's this great article. And this woman's talking about, like, I have to go and brief the jury about what the police and investigators and detectives and special agents and forensics actually do. Because I got sick of people asking me if they dusted the lawn for fingerprints. You don't dust. That's ridiculous. So you get things like this, shows like this. I can't watch the show because I just can't suspend my suspend my belief enough. Because I look at this and go, no. And I think it's very similar to people who watch who are in the medical field who watch shows like Grey's Anatomy, and they're like, that equipment hasn't been used for 5 years. This is supposed to be a state-of-the-art hospital. What on earth is going on? So for those of you who are familiar with this show, it's not accurate. Catching up on my messages. Hold on. Anyway, All right. Any questions about Bones? Because there isn't much on YouTube. I mean, there are like small clips, but like stuff like this is not real. Or if it is, like, where are they getting the money? What department are they working for that has the money for whatever this is? Right? And how is it helpful? How often is this going to be useful? What lab are they in? Doesn't make sense. It's a fun show. It is a good show. I struggle to watch it because what's even the purpose of that? I think that's the only... Oh, yeah, they had this guy exploding. Sorry about that. Look at that. Well, this just got demonetized. Anyway, all right, let's go on to another one. Let me see if I can find where I put it. I had a list up, and it disappeared on me. Here we go. Okay. Chips. You guys in my Discord were requesting Chips quite a bit. I have two, actually, from Chips. Chips is California Highway Patrol. They recently made a movie about it. We're going to watch this scene. It's a fun scene. This woman's driving some truck, and she has some explosives in the back. I don't know if she knows she has an explosive in the back. I don't know the context of this at all. I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea what's going on here. So, we're going to watch it. They're taking that really well, by the way. James, yes, he has a Ranger tab and Special Forces tab on it, not on his police uniform, on his Army uniform, which is a thing. You can have both. You can wear up to 3 tabs. There are a whole bunch of tabs out there. I'm not sure all the rules because I don't wear a tab, but Smithsonian Institute, not a police or federal lab. That's your justification for it. Okay, that makes some sense. I guess for the thing being put out is that for Bones, the reason they have all that cool equipment is because they're in the Smithsonian Institute as opposed to a police or federal lab. But my question is, why do they get it instead of a federal lab? What makes these crimes so important that they would use all this incredibly expensive looking equipment on it? Yeah, it's the movie was awful. Apparently, Chips. I never saw it. I know almost nothing about Chips. Yeah, they're taking this. I say they're taking this bomb threat in stride, like it's no big deal. And I wanna call them out for that, but I can't because the first time I ever responded to a bomb threat, someone reported a suspicious package in a parking lot. This is on a military base, so we take this very seriously. Like it's a suspicious box. And they're like, it might be a bomb. You know, we're getting in touch with EOD. Like, oh, this is a big deal. So I, lights and sirens. I head out to that area, to this parking lot, and I see two MPs already there kicking this duffel bag around. I'm like, hey guys, you gotta go. Didn't you hear over the radio? There's, potential bomb. And they go, yeah, we're kicking it. Excuse me? They're like, yeah, we saw this thing, figured out the suspicious package, and we opened it up. It's just full of clothes, so we're good here. I was so mad at them. I was so mad at them. But some people don't take it seriously. So I want to call them out for being like, oh, bomb in a truck, just another day. But at the same time, some people just go, yeah, okay. All right. I mean, for what? This is late 60s, early 70s that this was made. There's some good footage. All right, so you got them dispatches setting roadblocks. Like, all right, cut off this California traffic. This is a big deal. One car, guys. In all of this, I think there were 3 police officers involved. If there was a bomb in a truck on a highway, every officer who wasn't in the middle of something important would be breaking off from whatever they were doing and heading in that direction. You would see so many people just, cool, I want to be part of that. And so that's fun. And that's something I want to talk about that you see in these shows. It's like and I'm going to talk about this a couple times. Just a couple of officers, take care of this big thing. No, you have tons of officers taking care of these big things. Yeah, I don't like their use of phonetic nonsense. We're going to talk about that in a different video, though. Late 70s, okay. I'm not thinking of Chips for 60s, 70s. I'm thinking of, we'll get to it. A different show that we'll get to. All right, so this is whatever she has in her truck. All right, so this is actually pretty accurate. When you only have one patrol car to slow down traffic, you basically get in front of traffic and you weave and you slow down, and it basically tells everyone, hey, you know, cool your brakes. So that's fair. T.J. Hooker, I think I have an episode from T.J. Hooker. No idea what the context of this is, so I'm sorry about that. Oh, Knight Rider's a good... We're going to have to say that for the next one. Is 7 Adam must be his call sign, I guess. Or 12 Adam or whatever they're saying. Anyway, we're going to skip ahead because they get our attention. They say there's a bomb on board, which is right here. No, just say pull over. Don't say there's a bomb on board. Just say, hey, stop your car, right? My lights and sirens are activated. You had to pull over. Like, pull over right now. And then get them out and say, oh, yeah, by the way, your truck's about to blow up. So they stop this truck. And she doesn't want to leave the cab. She's like, it's my last tractor. If I lose it, I'm out of business. I might as well die anyway. The police would not have let this happen. They would have grabbed her and pulled her away and said, is your car insured? It should be, because otherwise, you know, lack of insurance, that's I'll write you a ticket for that. I don't know. They wouldn't let her go back. That would be a huge problem if she was injured because they failed to pull her away from a bomb. There's no way. This would not happen. They'd be like, get on our bike, let's go. Oh, yeah, there isn't mandatory insurance. That's a fair point. That's a good point. She can't say she's not driving Commerce. This is a fun scene. Blammo. Well done. I mean, for the 70s, that's a good effect for a TV show. But don't worry, they're fine. Anyway, just trying to get some context. Don't know, but the thing to take away from that is they don't just you'd have so many officers involved. It would be something. Look at this guy. Anyway, all right. Now speaking of officers that are just, you know, doing everything on their own. T.J. Hooker, good point, because that's actually, I think, an episode from T.J. Hooker that I'm thinking of. Actually, you know what? No. We're gonna do. I have one more from Chips, and then we can do T.J. Hooker. This is use of force. So, oh Jesus, oh God, oh no, stop! Oh, that's so loud. I don't know about you guys. That was really loud for me. So. TV gets use of force wrong a lot. And either they'll have the person draw their firearm too early, or they'll not be effectively escalating their use of force. And that's what we have going on here in this one. This is a great scene. This show is... There's just some moments that are a little great. You can barely hear that? Oh my God. I'm dying. Don't know what the deal is. Again, no context. He comes out with, is that a baton? A baton against 3 guys? I don't think so. I don't think so. At the very least, you're bringing out some OC spray. This is where it gets great. All right, that's assault with a deadly weapon or a dangerous weapon, depending on the state. They would probably argue it's just assault, aggravated assault. But if an officer is being assaulted in an aggravated manner, that's when you pull out your gun. All right? I don't want to promote the use of guns to solve problems, but I promise you, if you went after a police like that, or a police officer like that, you're getting shot. Or there's a very likely chance that you're getting shot. And when he goes back to his department and they go, why did you not escalate force? Why do you think you could take on this martial artist on your own? He's going to have some explaining to do. Anyway. Yeah, fight him. Yeah. You're losing, dude. Yeah, at that point, you know you're not winning that fight hand to hand. Yeah, and that's attempted murder, and that's vehicular assault. So, he's fully justified to just open fire. Again, I don't like to have to say it, but if you ever find yourself doing that to a police officer, don't expect to live much longer. Yeah, he just had 2 people try to kill him in a truck. He's got this man attacking him with nunchucks and a stick, right? What is he doing? Like, you're losing the fight, dude. You're not winning this fight. There it is. It should have been one of the first things he did. Anyway. Good. Bruce Jenner was on Chips. I didn't know that. Anyway. Alright, let's go on to the next one I have. Which now it's actually going to be TJ Hooker. Which is another one of few cops take on lots of bad guys. Let me see if I have it. Alright, this one is about counterfeit money. It's... Let's see if I can find the spot. Alright, yeah, so they're outside a warehouse. Familiar face for some of you. Let's see. So they're outside. I think there are 3 of them. Yeah, 3 of them, and they get 2... gosh, what do they have? Secret Service agents. Now, Secret Service, for those of you who don't know, their job isn't actually to protect the president. That's one of their functions. Their main priority is to investigate crimes involving the Treasury. So anything with counterfeiting usually gets sent to them. I've sent a few things to them with counterfeiting before, and they went, yeah, tell us when you have something real. All right, fine. No, they were very nice, but like, we can't investigate that. All right, so they're here. They're doing their thing. They got these 2 guys with Secret Service.
Sheridan, Corrigan. What do we got here? Toby Reno got off a quick call to me before he went in there. He had just met the guy running the operation, John Simone.
So they have an entire operation that they believe is in this warehouse. They have 5 people. 2 of them, I don't even know if they're wearing ballistic vests. Probably should be. I don't even know if any of them were wearing ballistic vests. Was that a thing back then? Don't know. I wasn't an officer then. Yeah, there's a lot of hair going on. Good God. So, they're like, all right, dangerous crime. We're going to go check it out. One of the Secret Service guys produces a warrant and says, don't worry, we have the warrant. Let's see. Yeah, yeah.
I've got the warrant.
He's got the warrant, folks. Don't worry. If you have time to get a warrant, you have time to plan a raid. All right? If it's a 10-minute plan, that's still a plan to say, hey, whoever is in the area, we're going now. So.
Shall we go do this?
No vests? All right. Well, then they definitely should have more than 5 people to take down a major counterfeiting organization.
Yeah, I got one.
This is amazing, though. This would never fly, by the way. Notice how many people are in here. if they're going in there not knowing that there are that many people, that's a problem. Because this is the kind of place you need to stake out before you conduct this kind of thing. You got to know what you're getting yourself into. And James has put out information. The modern or the police sidearm at the time was a 6-shot revolver. Not many shots before you have to reload.
Still clear some moving. All right. Take it.
All right. Oh, wait, hold on. Boom. That's how they decide to enter it. That's awful. I love it. It's great TV, but but you can't do that. They come in shooting. No orders are given. No one says, police, put your hands up. Nothing. They start shooting. Machine gun, all right? Machine gun versus revolver. Obviously, there's a bit of a difference between the two of them. It's just this idea that, just a few of us are going to take down all these bad guys. No. You always want to outnumber the people you're against. That's how it works. And if you see a lot of police cars at an incident, they don't necessarily need all those police cars, but you don't want to be in a situation where you have not enough and need more. So even in traffic stops, we're encouraged, hey, go drive by, right? If you see a traffic stop, you hear over the radio, you're in the area, go drive by slowly. One, that tells the police officer that there's backup in the area if they need it. Two, the person in the car knows that there are other police in the area and might not try anything crazy. And then if you decide, I don't want to just drive by, I want to stop and hang out, we'll often pull up behind the other car and just sit there and wait. And that way, if we have paperwork they need, if there are a bunch of people in the car and they need another body to sort of keep an eye on them, we're there. If someone starts shooting, we're there, right? So it's not intimidation. It's basically for the protection of the police, because it can be a very dangerous job. We're not there to, when a bunch of officers show up, it's not to try to intimidate you into, obeying our every command, but it is sort of like, hey, don't try something crazy. Don't do something stupid. And if something does go down, we're ready. So it's a thing, right? You use more officers than you need, hopefully. Anyway, they end up winning. Of course they do.
He's dead.
Someone died, though. Who died? Is it important? Probably one of their suspects. I don't know. Undercover? I don't know. Haven't watched the episode. I saw the scene, went, yeah, I can talk about that. All right. What else I got? Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Oh, folks. I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. If you haven't seen it, you're wrong, by the way. No. It's not your thing, it's not your thing. No. But things that Brooklyn Nine-Nine gets wrong more often than not, obviously it's a comedy. It's a funny show. It's not supposed to take itself too seriously. And they do a pretty good job of getting the feel, right, of interacting with police officers and what it's like to be part of that team. There are shows that do it better, but obviously this is supposed to be a bit funnier. Southland does it really well. And we'll be talking about that in a second. You never heard of Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Oh, my goodness. It's amazing. It's a comedy. It's very good. One of the things I see them do wrong is some of their evidence handling is done improperly. I've seen them enter places they're not supposed to enter. For example, someone's apartment. They'll enter and they don't have a warrant. They don't have exigent circumstances, that sort of thing. So there are minor things, but overall they do a pretty decent job. It's certainly not perfect. But there's this great scene where this woman is, her brother died. Her brother was killed. And she heard the murderer singing in the bathroom. And so they've compiled all these people. They've gotten them all together for a lineup, a police lineup, so that she can identify who it is. And I'm going to teach you guys a thing or two about police lineup. Let me pause that real quick. All right. Oh, no, stop. All right. So, I love that scene so much. So, with these kind of lineups, right, first of all, I don't see this type of lineup much anymore. I have done lineups, but photographic lineups, where you show the pictures as opposed to having all these people. It's actually kind of hard to organize this. So with lineups, the first thing you want is you want them all to look very similar. Because what if you don't have the right guy? At that point, the person identifying the victim might choose, and this does happen, they might choose the person that looks closest to the person, even though they're not the person, right? They're not the criminal that they're looking for. So, this already wrong, because none of these people look terribly similar to each other. They all look very different. So that's going to get thrown out in court right there. What else? So with photo lineups, my concern is they had this woman's statement, right? They would have interviewed her and said, hey, what do you know? What happened? Tell us everything. And she would have said, I was hiding in the bathroom. I didn't see his face, but I heard his voice. Right? That should have been the statement. If they didn't get that on the statement, and they didn't ask the right questions, that's a problem. So the fact that this happened in the first place, wrong. Also, you notice that they don't sound terribly similar. If I were a defense attorney for number 5 right here, I'd say, Your Honor, lineups are supposed to be done with people who look similar. Is that correct? Oh, yeah, no, that's correct. Attorney, where are you going with this? Well, Your Honor, you notice, one, none of these people look similar, which obviously means that these people don't know what they're doing. Second, this isn't the correct way to do a voice analysis. This is not a technique that has been backed by any study or science, so therefore it should be inadmissible as actual evidence. Oh, it's a very good point. Do you have anything else to say? Yes, I do, Your Honor. Since people are supposed to look similar, surely they should also sound similar if we're comparing voices and having someone pick out a voice. Don't you think? By the same logic, if they should look similar because you're observing them with your eyes, they should also sound similar because you're hearing them with your ears. I would ruin this procedure in court. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like that would definitely make some jurors think a little bit. I would definitely, if I was on the stand and I had conducted this and they brought all that up, I would be like, oh boy, I'd be shaken. I'd be a little worried. It's a great scene. I want to tell you guys how I have done the lineups. And this is not necessarily how every department does it, but this is how we did it. What you do is you get a picture of your suspected criminal. A pretty normal picture, usually front-facing. And then you find 6 pictures of people that look similar. And there's like a database that they pull these from, supposedly. I'm not the one who organized getting all the pictures. We sent that out. We said, here's a picture of our guy. Please send us 5 other pictures of people who look similar. And so they would get 5 other pictures. We put them, picture on a single sheet of paper. And there would be 3 different versions. And they'd all be organized differently. So it's always the same 6 people, but organized differently on 3 different pieces of paper. And I would go to whoever's supposed to be identifying the person. I say, I have 3 pieces of paper with 6 pictures. The suspect may or may not be on any of these pieces of paper. I'm going to put one in front of you. If you see the person that you believe has committed the crime, I want you to point at it with your finger. I want you to touch it with the point of your index finger. If you do not see anyone, say, I do not recognize anyone on this page, or something similar. Feel free to make any comments you wish. We will document your comments, but I will not be able to say anything until the last piece of paper has been picked up by myself after either you've identified someone or you said, I don't recognize anyone here. Do you understand? And they go, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. And then I'd answer any question they had. So I'd say, all right, are you ready to begin? Yes. And I put down the first picture, and they'd either point or they would say, I don't recognize anyone. I put down the second picture, same thing. Put down the third picture, same thing. I pick it up and say, thank you very much. I can't make any gestures. I can't say anything that might influence their decision. Basically, they have to do it all on their own. I give them instructions. I say, is there anything that you think might be confusing? Because I'm not going to talk to you once we start. And then that's how it's done. Is that me on the far right, this one? Yeah, right? Yeah. I mean, yeah, a defense attorney, I could break it apart. As a prosecutor, I mean, if you're doing this, you can say, hey, does this person sound familiar? And get a statement on that, but you wouldn't do a lineup for it. That's for sure. It's a weird... It's great, but the questions come up, why didn't you read her statement? Why didn't the statement contain the fact that she didn't see the guy? Why would you set up a photo lineup this improperly? Why didn't you use more traditional ways of voice analysis or comparison with the witness, that sort of thing? There would be so many questions. And this is a really, really fun scene. I love this scene so much. But when you really stop to think about it, would not fly. But I digress. What's our next one? All right, we got Brooklyn Nine-Nine, we got Chips, we got Bones. Ooh, Castle. I love Castle. You know Castle. Castle is a show about a book author, and I think this one has like Portuguese subtitles. Yeah, it's Portuguese subtitles. Castle's a lot of fun. I watched it before I was a police officer, so I remember it not raising too many questions in my mind. I can't really remember anything that stuck out to me as like, that can't be right. I'm sure there are things that they get wrong. If you've never seen Castle, I do recommend it. It's a fun crime drama. I hesitate to say, I mean, it is funny. It's not like a comedy. But Richard Castle is played by Nathan Fillion. Love his work. And he is an author of a series of books, like crime fiction. And he is struggling to come up with a new idea. His ex-wife, who is also his publisher, is hounding him like, we need that book. Your next book, where is it? And he's like, yeah, I'll totally get it to you. So he ends up interacting with the New York Police Department because someone has been committing murders in the manner that they are committed in his books. So the police are like, hey, we have to ask you a few questions about it. And he's like, this is so exciting. What if I tagged along with you guys to get ideas for my new book? And they're like, absolutely not. So he contacts the mayor, who's his friend. And the mayor's like, yeah, New York Police Department, let him tag along. And so antics ensue. But I digress. We're going to cut ahead. So
gun
Wash that off.
or Mr.
There's Castle. There's the body.
Place for a social
That's Kate
worker.
Beckett.
You knew her Saturday night. Besides,
These two guys are great. I love these guys in the show. If you haven't watched the show, get on that. If you want. All right, so they're like, I recognize this. This is from a book. So on and so forth. And there's Castle. There's his ex-wife, publisher. Doesn't matter. Skipping ahead. She's complaining to him that he hasn't finished his book. And he's like, yeah, no, it's totally happening. But it's not because he's out of ideas. That's his mom. That's his daughter. It doesn't matter because we're not going to watch the whole episode. But somewhere around here, yep. So he is at this like fancy party, right?
Something new.
Mr. Castle.
Sometime at night, Beckett comes up to him.
Detective Kate Beckett, NYPD.
Oh, Policia. So they're like, hey, we have to ask you a few questions. First of all, oh yeah, no, he does have Ryder on the back of his vest when in this show. It's great. Anyway, easily distracted, this guy. So the police come up to him at night, after hours, which is weird, but it happens, at a fancy party and says, hey, we need to ask you a few questions. Now, he's not a suspect. So he can absolutely refuse to come with them.
Where would you like it?
But
Detective Kate Beckett, NYPD. We need to ask you a few questions about a murder that took place earlier tonight.
That's new.
so that's the kind of thing you wouldn't just like go into the party. Like, who let them in the party? They don't have to be let into that party. Why would you not just call him and say, hey, can you come down to the station? Organize it. I'm sure he's a busy, important man. He certainly looks important. That's not something you would do. But we're going to ignore it. So he's
Mr.
in
Castle,
the interrogation room. He isn't.
you've got quite a rap sheet for a best-selling author.
It's a weird thing to bring up if he's not a suspect. And I don't see them advise him of his rights. Maybe it happened, off screen. But they make it pretty clear that they want his help figuring out who the copycat is, and they don't really think that
Disorderly
he's involved. So it's weird that...
That you spank.
You've got going might want to.
If that's what you're asking.
What about this guy?
We'll check it out.
Marvin Fisk, small claims lawyer.
Most of my claims tend to be on the large side.
Important guy, not someone that you want to
So
do
what's
things
this got to do
improperly
with me?
with.
Fisk was found murdered in his office 2 weeks ago. I didn't put it together until we saw the Tisdale crime on Marvin Fisk. Right out of Hell Hath No Fury.
Looks like I have a fan.
Yeah, a really deranged fan.
Oh, you don't look deranged to me.
What?
Hell Hath No Fury. Angry Wiccans out for blood. Come on. Only hardcore Castle groupies read that one.
Do any of these groupies ever write you letters? Disturbing letters?
Oh, all my fan mail is disturbing. It's an occupational
So, I
hazard.
mean, those
Because-
questions lead you to believe that she doesn't think he's a suspect, and she thinks it's someone who's read the books and is carrying out murders in the manner that they are done in the books, which, makes sense, because why would this guy be tying himself to murders like that? That would be weird. So why was he pulled in? I mean, we can assume by the way he's dressed, this is right after that event, although it could be a street light. It's weird. It's very, very weird, and that's something that shows will do. They'll be like, yeah, police can just pull people in for questioning at any time. No, you can't just pull anyone in. No. Anyway, we're going to move ahead. I encourage you to watch the show on your own time, but there's this great moment, which is a really big problem, and they're accusing someone, and I don't know what the deal is, because I don't remember the episode very well. Here we go. So,
And then
Castle's, sticking his nose where it doesn't belong like usual. He's like, I'm a writer. I can figure this out. I'm a smart guy. And he often does. But the police are like, hey, we have methods. Like, go away.
Russell, if you're going in, you should be armed. My backup's in the glove compartment.
Well, she doesn't have a backup, but I don't know any officer. I'm sure officers do carry backups. We never did. We were not authorized to have our own personal firearms. Maybe you have like a take-home car. I don't know. It's weird, but there isn't one, so it doesn't really matter.
I can't find it.
And that's an unlawful detention in violation of his Fourth Amendment constitutional rights.
This time you're staying put.
Okay, Beckett, very funny.
Yeah, you can't do that. First of all, that's not a proper like you can't. If I were to defend myself, if I did that and I were to defend myself in court, and stop telling you to watch shows you've already seen. If I were to try to defend that action in court, and I say, well, Your Honor, I had to keep him from following me. They'd be like, well, first of all, is that correct procedure? Is that how you're taught to handcuff people? Is to handcuff them to an object? No, first of all, that is not something. Second, what crime has he committed? He hasn't, right? Yeah, until he picks the handcuff, but he's still unlawfully detained. Really what it comes down to is, if you think he's going to follow you, you give him a direct order and say, if you follow me, I will arrest you for obstruction. And then if he follows, you arrest him for obstruction, but you do it properly. You can't just handcuff people to vehicles. Absolutely not. It's a fun scene,
Joke's
though.
over!
Again, this idea that like police can sort of do what they want. They cannot. They have certain authority, but they cannot just willy-nilly handcuff people to vehicles. All right, what else do we have? We have some other ones. We got T.J. Hooker. Oh, Dragnet. Dragnet's an old classic. Dragnet's the one I was thinking from the late 60s, early 70s. And I want you guys, we're not going to watch this episode. We're actually going to watch it. Stop it. We're going to watch from the movie because there's a really great scene. And I didn't want to go through all these episodes to try to find. Yeah, Dragnet actually worked pretty closely with law enforcement at the time, so it's not totally inaccurate. There are some minor things, but they didn't seem big enough to really, pick out. But you guys recognize that badge? You guys see that? Also in Chips, they were wearing that same one. Do you think that perhaps Mr. Jeremy DeWitt wears this badge because of Chips or because of Dragnet? And that's why he picked this specific one? Just a thought. Also, that music is just great. But we're not going to watch that. There's a scene that is another interrogation scene. This is Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd from the movie, which is 1978? 1987. I had them backwards. I knew that seemed wrong. It's fake Jeremy DeWitt gets it. Fake Metro State motor officer badge. All right.
So far is the only endearing thing about you.
It's a little
Why don't you
quiet.
talk to us?
That's assault, by the way. Spitting on officer, and they took it very, very well. So good for them. There goes my keyboard. Slippery lap, folks. The Dragnet rap? Oh, God. You know what? We'll find that. We absolutely will.
My attorney's on his way.
All right.
We both know
That's
he's got
disgusting.
20 minutes on bail. So take off these cuffs and open the door.
I wouldn't worry about the door, Muzz. The kind of scum who'd represent you would just ooze right under it.
Good line. Good line.
Joe,
Oh, I think my... I know, my camera. Alright, I think I fixed it. It does that sometimes. YouTube. Alright, hold on. We're going to do a quick little pause. Quick little pause. There we go. Alright. The Shield. Oh, The Shield has some great scenes. Alright, I'm going to write some of these down. If you guys want me to do this again and talk about things that they get wrong. The Shield. Oh, give me the other ones. Let me pop some into the stream, and I'll try to throw some of them in. Hold on, I know someone. Oh, the Naked Gun movies. I'll put that on there. Yeah, there's some movies that are really good. I decided to do TV shows because I could just pick a quick episode for this one. And yeah, just type in some shows. The Shield. I'm sure The Shield is great. Knight Rider. That's the other one. I mean, Knight Rider's like barely law enforcement. That's so far out of the realm of reality. But yeah, this movie isn't the same. It doesn't really have the same feel as the Real Dragnet. Real Dragnet, the show, was slow paced. It was methodical. It's a nice, easy watch. It's not super exciting. It has some exciting moments, but it's more of, it shows the detective side of things where they sort of figure things out and they talk to people, and it does a really great job of showing the process of like, hey, let's go find things out by interviewing and talking to people and getting the information. Because most of criminal investigation, from my experience, is just finding the right people to talk to. That's most of the evidence you get is from witness testimony. And then, I mean, that witness testimony will lead to other things. And of course, you have on-scene evidence that's very, very important. But that evidence can be pretty useless without a testimony to go with it. Not always. Depends on the scene. People like to imagine, and the problem with these crime shows is there's always the evidence. There's always something that ties the criminal to the victim. People always suspect that to be present on every crime scene. That's not really the case. It's kind of unfortunate. And even when I used to do my thing, I was thinking, yeah, there are going to be some people actually attempting to commit crimes and get away with it. The ones to do that often aren't caught. Most people who get caught are committing crimes of opportunity. They see something unlocked, they go, oh, I want that. I'm going to take it. They don't really think about it. They don't cover their tracks. They say, this will be easy right now. I didn't plan on it, but let's go for it. The ones who are actually covering their tracks, you don't see those very often. And they're a lot of fun to pursue. But most criminals are kind of dumb. Law and Order. Well, Law and Order is it's more of a lawyer thing than a police thing, I believe. Oh yeah, something like CSI Miami, CSI Miami, New York, Las Vegas. All right. Let me see. All right, let's do this. It's a little quiet. I'm sorry about that.
You want anything, Muzz?
Chewing gum, Snickers bar, and my attorney badge kisser.
Once they ask for an attorney, by the way, the interview stops. You can't keep asking them questions once they want an attorney. Now, if the attorney is present, then cool, ask away. But the attorney's just going to say, my client's not going to answer that question. Have a nice day. Right? So generally, what we would do, if they asked for an attorney, we'd just stop questioning altogether. We wouldn't get them an attorney, but we'd stop asking questions. Because if the attorney's just going to tell them not to say anything, there's no point. Like, all right, we're going to stop answering questions. You don't need an attorney because you're no longer being asked questions. We'll release you appropriately in the manner that we would have released you anyway. So, it's just a fun little fact there. Now, what you're about to see is super illegal. Oh, Reno 911. I'm sorry, I got to pause it for Reno 911 because you're absolutely right. I mean, Reno 911 is just about everything about it is wrong, but so good.
Mabel? I guess it's just you, me, your balls, and this drawer.
All right, so he just threatened him with violence. That is unlawful. That is any confession at that point would be considered given under duress. Absolutely not. That is absolutely illegal, and everyone would be in trouble. And from this, we can assume that they actually did it, but obviously that's much, much worse, actually following through. He's like, yeah, get him. Absolutely not. No. What is this? Oh, it's dragging it again. All right. All right. What else do I have? All right, we did TJ Hooker. Oh. All right. 21 Jump Street. 21 Jump Street, the movie, not the TV show. Since we're already doing a movie that was a TV show, we're going to do another one. Just because this one is very frustrating to me. So 21 Jump Street is a show about two bike cops. Well, it's a movie. Basically, it's two bike cops are awful at what they do. They get the chance to save their careers by going undercover in a high school. First of all, neither of these people look like high schoolers. They would never get selected for that. Second, they're just awful at it. They're just so bad. And I'm sure it's a very funny movie, but when I first saw this, I was in the process of training to become, well, I was a counter-narcotics investigator, right? But I was like going through the training to get me up to speed to how to do that job specifically. So watching them get just about everything that you can possibly get wrong was very frustrating, and I never finished it. I got maybe 20 minutes in and just went, nope, and I never watched it again. This is a very fun scene, but just about everything about it is wrong.
I really thought this job would have more car chases and explosions. Unless homeless people do them everywhere.
All right, that's a fair point.
You guys really think...
Oh, we thought this this job would have more car chases and explosions, not just homeless people doing everywhere. Yeah. It's a lot of, sometimes you get something real exciting, but a lot of it's just really, really mundane stuff. Like, oh man, this homeless man won't stop pooping in public. No, the original show wasn't like this, from what I understand. And Johnny Depp was in it, and I hear good things. But I haven't seen it, and I have seen this, and I might return to the show and check that out and see how they do. But
Police matter to get your frisbee back? Get your own fucking frisbee. Shit.
lack of professionalism.
Shit.
Lack of professionalism.
Yours isn't loaded, right?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's good job. You got fired.
Shit. Shit. Yours isn't loaded, right?
Huh?
We're supposed to unload them first, right?
You? No, that's no fun. Come on.
Sign says, do not feed the ducks.
It's right there.
Don't you, don't.
Don't. Stop it.
Don't. No, you did it. Fed the ducks. Feel like a big shot?
No fucking way.
1%ers? These guys are like big time drug dealers.
One percenters.
First bus, we'd be off
I don't know if that's a real thing.
You see what I see?
But you see that? You see how far away they are?
Be off park duty for sure.
You see?
You don't see how far away they are, but you'll see in a moment. There's no way they could have identified that as marijuana from that distance visually, because you can still hand roll cigarettes. And did they smell it from that distance? Possibly, but they're identifying it based on looks, it looks like. So that wouldn't fly.
Shaka Khan?
I mean, it's not that they're wrong. They can definitely say that looks suspicious. Let's go check it out. Fun scene right there.
Gentlemen,
Now at that point they'd be able to smell it. They could figure it out.
we having a little party?
Have we forgotten that the use of marijuana is illegal?
Well, I have, Glaucoma. I get nervous in crowds. Herpes.
And you won't mind
Assault.
if I search your bike now, would you?
Go ahead.
Hey, he got permission. It's fair.
You want to find shit?
Get up.
Cálmate, gringo.
Man, you guys even real cops who look like the kids on Halloween.
If that boy's a cop, I'm DEA.
I know, right? I know. It's hilarious. It's when you show us a little respect.
Fuck you, pig.
Hey, you want me to beat your dick off?
You can't say that sort of
You
thing.
want to beat my dick off?
I'll beat your dick off with both hands. What's up? Let's go.
That's weird, man.
I think what he was trying to say was he's going to punch you so many times around the genital area that your dick's just going to fall off.
Why do you have salt in your...
That's actual drugs.
Why do you have salt?
Get on the ground!
All right. Now, is that allowed? Probably not. Unless it's a felony level with drugs in that state. I don't know. But, yeah. Running with a firearm like that.
Jason, are you leaving your bike here?
Don't wait for me! You're making it worse for yourself! Go, get out of the way!
I'm going to shoot you if you don't slow down, man. Come on!
It is a funny scene.
Hey, come here! I'm not playing anymore! Go not there!
Absolutely not. Nope. Would not fly.
Freeze! Freeze! Just let me shoot you! Freeze!
I mean, taser would be more appropriate, but
That's it! Come here!
nope.
Freeze! Stop it!
Assault.
You're a pussy!
This right here.
Give me time. You got the right to suck my dick, motherfucker.
Nope, would not fly. They don't have to advise him of his rights right there either, by the way. You only have to advise someone of their rights if you're about to ask incriminating questions and they are in your custody.
Oh, my elbow.
You got nothing on your ass, huh? How the
That's sexual assault.
How's it down now? Huh? That's right, Schmidt. Schmidt, we got one. We got one. I got him. Yes! Yes!
I am a little furry.
Fuck you! Yeah! What's up?
Absolutely would not fly. They would be. I'd fire them. I'd fire him for sure. I love it. I mean, it's hilarious, but like I can only take this video in very short parts. I can't watch the whole thing because I start getting mad.
Fuck you, Bart! And what?
No. Unlawfully discharging a firearm in public. That would depend on what it's actually called in that state, but that's a problem. Oh, guys, the other guys. Speaking of unlawfully discharging a firearm, I'm going to put that down. The other guys. All right. And there's that. A good way to get arrested. Anyway, what else do I have? Southland. All right, Southland. It feels really good. It feels a lot like what it was like to be a police officer. They do a lot wrong, but I think it's intentional. Right? I think they're showing that this cop just doesn't care. So there are scenes, if you watch Southland, the cop's like, I'm just going to search this. I don't care. And I think the show knows that they're not supposed to do that. I haven't seen much of the show. I wish I had. I'm going to watch more because I liked what I saw. Don't look at that show and think, oh, this is what cops can do. I think the show is intentionally having the cop do things that they're not supposed to do as part of, that's part of the writing. But that's all I want. Oh, right here. Yes. There's a scene. It's some sort of robbery. It's a bank robbery. They did a really good job with this one. There's, I think, the main character. There's his rookie partner.
It's quite the package.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, by the way,
Phone number?
is that the same badge? Is that another DeWitt badge?
responding.
All right, hold on. I got to pause for Bloods. I know. Blue Bloods. And if you guys want me to keep pointing out things that are wrong, I mean, I'll watch cop shows all day. You got to put on the tactical sunglasses, always. I really like, it's so small, it's such a small detail, but the way he's looking, how he's glancing, I still drive like that. Like, that's absolutely what I would be doing. And it feels very real.
Stop fire! Officer down! Officer needs help!
Officer down. This show is not supposed to be funny. This was more of a serious show. All right, shots fired. Officer's been hit. It is rifle fire, by the way. It looks like AK. And they've pulled up their car very nicely. They've got it at an angle. They're behind the engine block. That AK is not going through the engine block. In a situation like that, it'd be best to get a long gun, a rifle out the back, if possible. But you want to at least suppress them before even going for it in this kind of situation. And this officer, I think, is behind cover. I think he isn't visible to the people on the street. But while this is happening, one of the things you want to do is you want to be yelling to him. Be like, hey, we've got you. Can you provide first aid? Can you move? Are you okay? Are you responsive? Like, that's a lot. I mean, you're taking fire, you're shooting, you're trying to plan your next move, and also shouting to this guy. It's not easy. It's a very stressful type of situation, but this is the kind of thing that you'd have to do. So what they should be doing, and I can't fault them for not doing it, because one, it's a TV show, and two, in the heat of the moment like this, there are going to be things that aren't done, exactly to training standard. But in a real situation, the perfect scenario, watching this, not being in the situation, again, obviously this is a TV show, that's something you have to do is while you're once you fire a few shots, then you duck down behind cover, you're going to be trying to communicate with that guy. End of Watch is a very good movie. Very good movie. We should definitely pull out some things from that. Hold on. Were they using two different pistols? Is that a Beretta? Or is that a SIG? Or neither? That's a SIG? P2... No, is that a 229? I don't know. That's a Glock. I don't know why they're using two different firearms in that department. But some departments are cool with that. Mine had a very standard, everyone same thing. Investigators get one thing, police get another. I had the P228, the SIG P228. The police carried the Beretta. Yeah, that's not a Beretta. What am I thinking? I think it's Smith & Wesson. I'm not super familiar with Smith & Wesson. It's just the profile of that. Not that it matters at all. I didn't even realize that. Smith & Wesson. All right. Very well could be. That's not a brand I'm super familiar with. I hear good things.
You okay?
I mean, they have, speaking of with hardcover, they have the engine block. Right? Lull in the action. Shout to your dude. Be like, hey, are you okay? Are you hit? Are you hurt? Are you bleeding out? Can you apply a tourniquet? Can you apply first aid? He'll probably at least have a tourniquet on him. At the very least, he can apply pressure to his wounds. Now they're communicating. You'd want to be shouting that. You wouldn't want to be communicating over the radio, because that radio it needs to be open for traffic being communications, right? So people are responding, they're en route. That's the kind of thing that you absolutely do not want to use unless absolutely necessary at that point, unless you're communicating things directly to dispatch or other officers. They're in shouting distance. They can shout to each other.
843, we have 2 armed barricaded suspects. Request SWAT on location.
All right, requesting SWAT. Smart. Here's the rest of the officers finally showing up.
We got 2 behind the kiosk.
It's nice to not see them try to take all of this on their own. This is a stupid scene right here.
Better idea?
They take off their vests. I mean, the vests are pretty much useless because the rifle rounds are going to be stopped by that vest. But they put them over the windows, and then they use the car as moving cover. Now, using the car as moving cover is very, very smart, but you cannot trust those vests to stop that rifle round. From a 7.62 coming out of an AK, absolutely not. P226. That sounds pretty close. Yeah, so they have the vests over the windows, and it's a clever idea. It's not going to do anything unless the intent is to block the view of the people with the rifles. They don't see where the people are on the other side of the vehicle. So, you know, James, they would, or sorry, Stang, they would go to a tactical channel, but people are still. I mean, you're firing, you're talking to the guy, you're switching channels blindly. No, just shout to the dude. But you're right. So very smart using it as mobile cover to get to the other officer. Very, very smart. And you see him there. He's behind the engine block of the other car. So that's good. But using those vests is weird. So I'm guessing by the way he's screaming, he's taken around to the gut. Potentially. Possibly the lung. Would have gone right through his vest. Can you see anything here? I think there was definitely a gunshot to his leg. At which point, you know, if he's bleeding out, tourniquet it. But yeah. I'm going to tell you what I would do. Having watched this and not being in this situation, I would use that car as a mobile cover. I would be outside of it. I'd be steering with one hand, hiding behind the engine block, and I would crash it into another car to stop it from moving. Once I'd pick a car and say, I want to be right there at that other car, and I'd crash my car into it, using it as mobile cover. What they're doing is real close to that, but not quite. And then this guy ends up committing suicide, but YouTube's going to be mad if I show that. So, not the officer, the guy he chases just goes against the wall and blows his head off. So, yeah, no, that armor would be basically useless. And that's really fun. It's a great scene. They do a lot of the tactical stuff pretty well. There are minor mistakes that wouldn't be effective in that kind of situation, but, you know, an officer might not make the correct decision, but they get the feel of it pretty good. Pretty good. They did a good job. Did a good job. Let me see. I have one more clip from this that I really, really loved. Some woman's like, I pay your taxes. Why are you on break? And this is something that frustrates me because police are people. They get breaks too. And sometimes you're working a 12-hour shift and you just need a coffee. You just want a coffee. You want to stand somewhere for 5 minutes where you're not being screamed at. Just a 5-minute break. And then if you get called to something, your coffee break's over. But for 5 minutes, you can stop pulling over traffic, right? It's so good. Get out of here.
Can I help you?
Your ads.
While you're standing around, there are crimes being committed.
Oh, we hear this all the time.
Would it make you happier if we had cut the line?
You're wasting our taxpayers' dollars.
Ma'am, do you get a break
Repo Man
while
knows
you're at
what's
work?
up.
Yes.
You do. You see, because we work 12-hour shifts. 12 hours. Dealing with gangsters, crackheads, rapists, all so that people like yourself can sleep better at night. Now, just because we're peace officers, it doesn't mean we are not entitled to a break. Or in this case, enjoying a cold treat on a very hot day. Just
Those
like
vests get
everyone
hot.
else.
Yeah.
I pay your salary.
Oh, I love it.
But, ma'am, yes, you do. Which means that you have actually paid for this. You want a lick?
All right, that should have filed a complaint about that, and the officer would have been talked to, like, hey, you can't interact with the public like that. But it's so
So
good.
you have actually paid for this. You want a lick?
I think there's a single officer out there who doesn't want to do something similar. It's just so good. But yeah, no, that's a pet peeve of many officers. I think it's hilarious. People are like, I pay your salary. And you go, I pay my salary too. And they go, well, yeah, with my money. And you go, yeah, it's a weird cyclical sort of a situation, isn't it? And that usually confuses them. They're like, I guess. Yeah, all right, your money goes to pay my salary. But a lot of people think, oh, because I pay taxes, that means I'm the boss of the police. No, that's not how it works. You pay taxes to the government. The government then distributes them how it feels appropriate or is appropriate. You elect the people who distribute that money. And if you don't like the way they're distributing it, don't elect them next time, right? Elect someone else who falls into your interests better or promotes your interests better. So it's just it's a silly argument. Like I'm your boss. You're my employee. Like, okay, there are 1 million people in the city I work. Let's assume I work in a city that's 1 million people. 1 million people. You are 1/1,000,000th of that. Why are you my boss? Isn't everyone my boss? Which means that you only get 1/1,000,000th of a say in what I do. Which means whatever you're trying to get me to do isn't something I'm really going to pay attention to. And that's not something you can really say. But it's basically what we're thinking. Is like you are an incredibly small fraction. Now, the way the system works is if a majority feels a certain way about something, the system changes to, or is supposed to change in order to support the interests of the majority. If you are in the minority, if you're a sovereign citizen, cool, you have these beliefs, but you are part of the minority. Right? You are not the biggest group out there making things happen. Why would the government change to address your, whatever claims? Being the minority, that wouldn't be in the interest of the most people. Now, for those of you who say, well, the government doesn't act in the best interest of the people, the government is the people. You elect people into government. You elect your peers into government. If you don't like the way your peers are acting, don't re-elect them. Campaign against them. Run for government. Go door to door and say, hey, don't vote for this guy because of these reasons. Take a stand. That's one of the beautiful things about this country is you have the ability to make change, but it's not easy. But there is a process. It's not, you don't wake up one day and say, all right, everything changes because I want it to. No, you have to get other people on your side. And if you have a good argument, that's not going to be too difficult. But if you're saying things like, I think we should segregate schools again. Good luck. Probably not going to happen. So it's this thing. It's just frustrating. Like, go and do it. And I'm not saying support the government always. But if you have a problem with the government, you have the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That is your constitutional right. And if the government does not support a majority of the people, well, then it takes a majority of the people to re-elect them. So that's not in their best interest. Just saying. That's how the system is supposed to work. Does it always work that way? No. But is that how it's designed to work? Yes. If you see it not working that way, it is your social responsibility to go out and implement the changes, or to try to make the changes that you think are necessary. If your changes are stupid, for example, you pull an Eric Brandt and say we should just kill all judges because shame on them, they keep putting me in jail, people probably aren't going to be terribly receptive to that idea. But if it's something like, hey, wouldn't it be nice if we had some tax breaks for a volunteer organization that made sandwiches for people living on the street? People are probably going to be behind that. So it's a thing. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't see your name on my check. Yeah, next time someone's like, I'm your boss, I'm like, then fire me. Anyway. No, I've had people complain about me. But people will complain about anyone if they think it's going to help them. And it's mostly, I don't like that this guy's pressing charges. Like, well, I don't like that you assaulted your wife, but here we are. I've never had a founded complaint against me. Not even close. Which is nice, which is good. That's what you want. You can't avoid complaints, because people will complain just to, try to make things difficult. Anyway, that's all the videos I have for you that we're going to review today. I know it's not a 3-hour stream, but I hope you guys enjoyed that. You guys have any questions for me before I get out of here? Oh, while you're typing your questions, I do want to say something because there is that delay. I had that interview of Jeremy DeWitt. I recorded his audio separately to my audio. So I have my face recorded talking. My audio was recorded separately. That audio of my voice has become corrupted. I think I can recover it, but it will take some time. I still have all of Jeremy's audio, which is really, really good. I will still be releasing, hopefully, that interview with him, but in smaller chunks. I'm not going to do the full thing. It's going to be like question by question because it's going to take me a lot of time. I don't have much time, unfortunately. I'm with this whole coronavirus thing. A lot of people are like, I have so much free time right now. It's the opposite for me. Which is frustrating in the sense that I can't put out this video, but on the other hand, I do enjoy what I'm doing, so it's a whole thing. But I digress. So we're going to be waiting a little bit longer for that Jeremy DeWitt interview. Let me tell you, hard to see that Super Troopers thing. We do that to each other all the time. I've done that on when I was a young baby little patrolman. I'd done the meow thing. It was with someone I knew, so it wasn't like super unprofessional, but it was still pretty unprofessional. But I was like, all right, meow, let's see that ID. He's like, come on, man, you can't. What are you doing? I knew him. It was fine. We thought it was hilarious. But I digress. I'll throw this at you guys. I have a Patreon up. If anyone wants to support it, I think I said it last time. If you just look up, I'm not going to promote it just yet because it's not fully there. You just look up Patreon Sergeant Blue Bacon on Google, it'll pop up. If you want to support it, that'd be amazing. If you subscribe, if you become a Patreon or patron, whatever it is, for the $4 mark, there's one where you get versions of my videos before they've been finalized. Like when I cut it, I've done the editing, but I haven't done like the effects, like the green screen. I will be releasing some of DeWitt's audio, just as audio, on there. So if that's something you want to see early, if you're really desperate to hear that, feel free to support the channel. That money does go to the Green River Equipment Fund for trying to find bodies. If you can't, don't worry. It's just going to be a little bit longer waiting. You're not going to miss anything. It's just you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. I hate holding on to this without putting it out to you guys, but unfortunately, time being an issue. And as far as I keep seeing you guys talking about the guy, Jeremy DeWitt's employee, Brocious is his last name, who struck and killed the guy in the wheelchair. I will be checking that out for sure. I'm definitely going to be looking into that and seeing what that situation was. And I haven't seen Super Troopers 2, guys, so I couldn't say. But I understand they have a TV show where they're the fire department in Tacoma, which I used to live in Tacoma, so that's going to be fun. Anyway, I digress. I think that's going to be it for me then. I'm not seeing any new questions coming in. An hour and 20 minutes, that's not bad. It's a decent stream. Meow. All right. Until the next time. Well, I almost had a good outro. It's all right. Until the next time, be good and stay safe.